Hey, L.A. Lloyd here, and today, 16th appearance for Theory of a Deadman to co-host the Rock 30. Tyler Connolly, good to see your face, my friend.
Yeah, you too, dude. It's been a while.
It has been a while for sure, and in fact, I was looking back. We're going to be doing a lot of flashing back today. I hope you don't mind, but you were one of the first guests I had on the Rock 30 just as COVID was starting to ramp up. Last time you were on the show was April 2nd, 2020, and in fact, I think it was one of my first Zoom interviews. Zoom has become, a whole new world for me and doing interviews, and I'm sure for bands as well. So with that said, how's the last 2.5 years been treating you, man? Because it has been a whirlwind.
Yeah, probably the same as everybody else. It's been weird. I've gotten Zoom. I pay for Zoom now. That's just another one of those add-ons you have in your life now. I started doing every Sunday I would do a game night with my mom and aunt.
Wow.
So we play Yahtzee. You ever heard of Yahtzee?
Of course, sure.
Yeah. So we play Yahtzee. So, of course, when COVID was kind of ending and I was going back on tour, I was like, well, okay, I guess we'll just stop doing this. I'll just stop paying for it. And my mom and aunt were like, whoa. What do you mean? So now it's just every Sunday for the rest of my life.
I haven't thought about that in the world with the family. I mean, obviously that's a great thing, man. I never even thought about doing game night. That just takes it to a whole new level right there.
Yeah, well, you can see each other when you have arguments and yell at each other and stuff. It's great.
That's exactly right, man. Well, something I'm very happy about is you just reached a 20-year milestone just a few days ago, actually. It was September 17th. And the 20th anniversary of the release of your self-titled album. So, when you go back, man, and again, I interviewed you that just a few months after that album was released. So I've had a 20-year relationship with you as well. When you go back and visit that album again and maybe just put it on from front to end, are you still just as proud of it as you were when you first done it? Or you go back and go, well, I was younger and I would have done this different? Or what's your feelings on it 20 years later?
It's a bit of both. For me, I definitely, I can't speak for the rest of the guys. For me, when we make a record, when we're finished with it, that's it. I never listen to it again. It's kind of weird.
Yeah.
I know some actors are like that where they make a film. Like I think Johnny Depp never watches any of his films.
That's the one I was just thinking of too. Yeah.
Yeah. So that's kind of like me. So because if I go back, I will pick stuff apart and be like, oh, this could be way better. But at the same time, like it's really cool that it represents a place that we were in. It's so nostalgic because that was really like the beginning for us. And it was like we were green. Like we really, like I remember like we had record labels coming over to my dad's basement.
Wow.
To watch us perform. Like it wasn't even like a showcase. It was like my dad's basement. And it was just like loud and they're probably just like plugging their ears.
Yeah.
And so that's, so for us, when I hear it, it just feels raw. It just feels like, I just started thinking about all the memories of us being in the studio and having fun and just kind of being like these young adults entering this world when we had no clue what was going to happen or where like that we'd be talking about it 20 years later with you.
Yeah. Well, the funny thing about it is this show today is almost kind of like, I don't know if you ever remember a show called This Is Your Life where they go back and, flash back to your past. But I did find something today. I wanted to play this for you. Now, the first time I met you was September 29th, 2002. So literally almost 20 years to today that we're doing this interview.
Wow.
Sunken Garden Theater, San Antonio. And at the time, Nothing Could Come Between Us had just hit the top 10. I think it was about number 8 the weekend that we did this interview. So I found the audio of that day, and you told me about this song. So here we go. This is young Tyler, and let's see what he had to say about this song. I hope you can hear this.
That's like a relationship song, sort of a relationship gone really bad, I guess. It's like a guy and a girl, and the guy really is had enough of her, but she's a little, I guess, obsessed, and she just can't take a hint, I guess.
Was this written from personal experiences?
I don't know. A lot of songs that are like, sometimes I write a song, I just write words subconsciously, and I read it after, and I go, wait a minute, this is about somebody.
Yeah.
So I don't know. I don't know if it's, I can't honestly tell you if it is or isn't.
Now, do you still stick by that answer?
Yeah. I think I've seen a therapist quite a few times. I'm sure they pulled out a lot. But yeah, it's funny listening to me. I even sound like a kid.
You do. I mean, that's 20 years ago. And I was so happy I found this audio last night. I was working on this interview about 11 last night. I was like, Let me just see how well I've archived my interviews, and boom, there it was. I was like, oh my God, I got to play this for Tyler today. So before we came on the air today, you kind of tossed the camera around and showed me you're next to some of the gondola rides there. You're playing the Central Washington State Fair in Yakima. I almost can smell the corn dogs and the funnel cakes, but fairs and concerts and everything, the protocols, are they lightening up a little bit? Is it a little bit easier to interact with the fans, especially in a setting like a state fair where it's, a little bit different than your typical concert setting?
Yeah, everything's back to normal for us. I think I don't see any masks anywhere we've been, but I'll go walk around. I'll go. I can see some horses from here, and the mini donuts stand. So we'll see. But I usually will, when we do these state fairs and stuff, I'll usually go out and get some terrible deep fried food and bring it back to the bus.
You got
and
to.
We'll see who picks at it over the night. The crew guys come on the bus. You're like, whoa, deep fried, deep fried Oreos. So I'll go out there and check it out.
That's awesome, man. Well, another stop I saw on this tour is Deadwood, South Dakota. And I don't know if you watched the TV show on HBO. I became a huge fan. I mean, I really got immersed into this, and I've never been to Deadwood, but if I did, I would be such a huge tourist there. So my question is, have you been there? Have you played there? And do you get a chance to maybe walk around and see some of the, the famous graves, if you will, while you're there?
Yeah, I've definitely got to check some stuff out. I don't know if you've ever been to Deadwood before. I mean, we've been around there a lot. Like, I don't know how far that is from like Sturgis and those kind of places.
Right.
But I think this show is the third time we've tried to play the show due to COVID.
Wow.
I think the first time was canceled because I think 5 of us got it and we're sick. And the second time I think it was rescheduled. So this is the third. So we are playing this show. We don't care if we have to drag ourselves on stage. But yeah, man, I've seen the show, and I'm big into like Westerns and the Wild West and stuff. So I'm going to go see if there's some. Me and Dean will probably go walk around and see if there's some cool stuff to take photos of.
Yeah, for sure. Well, back to your debut album and the 20th anniversary. There's so many bands that obviously will hit a milestone like this and go, let's go out and do maybe a one-off or a few select dates where they do the album from front to back. I mean, obviously you had 2 big singles from your debut, which you guys kicked off really well, but have you thought about doing this album or maybe down the road Gasoline or something like that in its entirety?
Yeah, I don't know. Like, we kind of missed the mark. Like, we should have probably done like a 10-year Scars and Souvenirs. That would have been around 2018. That would have been really cool.
Yeah.
I don't think this one, we do, we'll play something off this record. I know a lot of fans have asked for that. You ever going to play, this album in entirety? I think the first album is like 34 minutes and change or something. It's really short.
Yeah.
And I remember like when we went and toured on the first record, we'd go do a headline show and we would play the whole album and like a cover and like 2 B-sides, and we would like, good night, and get off stage, and the promoter would be like, get back on there, I don't care. You were not, it would be like an hour and 5 minutes long or something. And we were just like, we don't have to do, we have no more songs.
Yeah.
So I don't know. Yeah, we could do the full record and then we'd have to add some songs for sure for some other stuff. But Scars and Souvenirs could be a cool 20-year. That would be in 6 years from now. So that might be awesome. We could maybe do that.
I don't know if this has ever even come across your radar, but, I always think about, you have to have this 25-year thing from the time you release your first album to be considered for the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame. And to me, 2027 still seems like a long ways down the road, but really it's not. And if I got my math right, that's the year that you would be eligible for Rock and Roll Hall of Fame. And, and I've had bands like Bush, from the UK say Rock and Roll Hall of Fame didn't really mean that much to them just because they didn't grow up around it. Being from Canada, would this be a big accolade or a milestone for you guys to hit if you were inducted and brought into it?
Yeah, I think, that would be amazing. I think I looked up how many Canadian bands have been inducted, and there's not a lot, man. I mean, I think they included like, Neil Young in there. I think the band maybe is. I think that's kind of a pseudo Canadian / American band.
Right,
the band,
right?
And then of course Rush.
Sure.
There's not a lot of Canadian bands that are in the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame. That sure would be something. You never know, man. You never know. But who knows?
Well, 5 years from now, let's start the petition, Tyler. Let's get it going, man. Let's get you guys in there, you know. Going back to the summer, you played Download Festival back in June, and is the vibe with the fans over there pretty much same as here? Just happy to be at live shows again, and you know, what was the vibe of the overall crowd there? And also, kind of a two-part question: other bands you got to see that you know kind of stood out to you?
Yeah, so that was nuts. That Download was the first. They had canceled it 2 years. We were supposed to be on it the 2020, and then they canceled that one. They canceled 21, and then 22. This was the first year back, so it was nuts. I think it was probably about 100,000 people, and we were on the main stage. So for us, I think it was 11 years was the last time we played Download. Wow. So I was actually nervous. Like, I don't think it had been a long time since I had that much adrenaline going through me. Like when we got on stage, that was a lot of people. Yeah. But yeah, they were, I mean, you could tell in the audience, they were just so pumped to be out again and seeing a bunch of bands. We didn't get to see a lot of bands play that day because we had so much press, but the headliner was Kiss, who we played a couple festivals now with this summer. So it was cool. I did watch a bit of Kiss. Yeah. It was just pretty awesome.
Kind of hard not to when you're that close to Kiss. You kind of have to stop everything you're doing, right? Because I mean, I think these guys are going to be around way after they're dead and gone. I think there's going to be some incarnation of Kiss out there touring. I don't know what it's going to be,
100%,
but there's going to be something out there.
Yeah, I mean, they've got this thing now. I went and watched this show in London. It's called ABBA Voyage. I can't remember what it's called. Have you heard of this?
I have heard of it. I've seen some of the footage and blows me away, the technology.
So we knew the guy that was one of the investors and creators of it. So we got to go to the show. It's sold out for, I think, months or years or something.
Right. Yeah.
So he got us tickets to the show. I mean, it's one of the most amazing things I've ever seen. So what they did, is people don't know, is they took the ABBA members who were all still alive and they put all of those dots all over them.
Right.
And then they did a performance, and it was something like 1,500 hours or something like that of them performing. And then they made these like CGI characters of them when they're like 20 years old.
Yeah.
I think they said what year it was, 1970 something.
Mm-hmm.
And then that's all you're watching. You're just watching a performance of these avatars. It's almost like the Tupac 3D thing.
Right.
It was unbelievable. I mean, you could not tell. And they talk to you between songs and stuff. How you guys doing tonight? So I think Kiss has probably seen that, and they're like,
yeah.
I guarantee you Kiss is on it already. They're going to figure out how to do this long after they're done. You know, Gene is probably figuring out this is going to be Kiss. It's going to be called Kiss Forever, or Kiss Never Dies, or something like that.
Before the interview today, I did see this lyric video for Invisible Man from your first album that, you know, I guess that one came out a couple of weeks ago. What was the idea behind putting this one out? Because it wasn't a single, but, you know, it was really cool to revisit with that song again.
Yeah, I don't know. I think the label just asked, and we said, yeah, that's a great idea. Invisible Man was like kind of it was almost a single. It was weird. It wasn't really a single, but it came out on the Spider-Man soundtrack first, I think.
Mm-hmm.
And it became kind of a hit in our hometown of Vancouver. I remember they started playing it on the radio, and they started getting requests for it. And then it just became every day was the number one requested song on the station. So it kind of became almost like this pseudo single. So we've always kind of loved that song. We play it live here and there. So it's always one of those kind of songs that we after all these years, we still love. Kind of, I'll start jamming on stage or something.
It's just been so weird how the planets have aligned recently. A couple of weeks ago, we had Nickelback on the show and had a story in Blabbermouth about Chad talking about the Pantera reunion. Josie Scott's kind of popped back out again. He's out there doing a little bit of solo stuff. And of course, you know, you did guitar on the Spider-Man soundtrack as well. So you know, it's just kind of weird. I mean, you know, I've been doing this for so long, but it seems like even though it was 20 years ago, some things just seem like, you know, you and I were having that first conversation yesterday, man. Time just goes by so fast with music, I guess. It just keeps you young, I guess, maybe.
Yeah, and you know what? Things come around, like, people get nostalgic. They get to a certain age where, like, for example, they may listen to music because they're young, and they may almost think they've grown out of that music, but then they come back to it like 20 or 25 years later. They come back and they go, you know what? I'm old enough now that I'm going to go and see my favorite band play.
Right.
I don't care. I'll go by myself. How much are tickets? $75. I don't care. And that's kind of like you get to that age where I'm at, where I don't care. I'll go by myself.
Yeah.
I think that's what's happening. You're seeing that, and I think, who knows? Maybe we can do like a hero jam. I'll hit up Josie and Chad.
Now that I would pay, I would go by myself to see that too. I would buy a ticket for that. I love that, man. Well, I've been sworn to secrecy, and this interview can't even air until after October 20th. So, you can give me what you can today, but the limited info I know is new music, maybe a single called Dinosaur. I don't even know if I'll have this song when this interview airs, but what can you slip me under the table there and give to me today, man?
I'll give you whatever you want, dude. I'll send you the song if you want. I don't care.
well, when was this written?
Yeah.
Was this done recently? Did you do it during lockdown? Or give me a little setup on this song, because I hope I can play it by the time we air this interview.
It's called Dinosaur. It's a return to that Theory of a Deadman sound, I guess. We really felt like it was time for us to go back to kind of like a sound that, like, the irony of our whole conversation of nostalgia and stuff coming back around. This record feels a lot like our older stuff. Even people have said, like, this sounds a lot like your Scars and Souvenirs songs, Truth Is, and Dinosaur definitely feels like something from that era. So, but that's kind of the song. It started with a word. I just love the word dinosaur, and then I wrote this riff that I thought sounded like what a dinosaur would sound like, and it's just this heaviest. It's just such a great badass rock riff, and I can't wait for people to hear it. I think a lot of people that have heard it already are like, "Yeah, okay, thank you." People are very, very happy that we have kind of coming back to that sound. So I think our fans will be really happy.
Well, I'm so happy to hear you say that, that you created this riff for the song, because, look, man, you guys write great songs. I love seeing you perform. You're a great vocalist. But, at the end of the day, sometimes people just may forget what just a badass guitarist you are, dude. I mean, I've just seen you rip, dude. So I'm glad to kind of hear you're back to that, man.
Yeah. And it hasn't been, honestly, since the first record, since I wrote something that was a riff first. There's another song on our album called Ambulance. It was the same thing. I had a word. I like the word ambulance. I want to write a song about what the hell am I talking about, ambulance? Then it turned into like a fun party song about how we're going to get so up tonight where you're going to end up in an ambulance. And I'm like, that's such a great Theory song. Oh my God, this is going to be. And same thing. I just wrote this riff that just sounded like it's such a heavy rock. It's just so good. I'm just so excited for people to hear some of these riffs.
Well, to prove to you and my listeners that I do my homework before I interview my guests. Now, I understand you were talking about playing Yahtzee with your mom and your aunt, but you made a rug for your mom while in lockdown, like this horse rug, from what I understand.
Yep.
So tell me about this. It seems like this is something that would definitely go almost the entire lockdown. It would take me 5 years to do something like that.
It's pretty close. So I promised my mom I was going to make this rug for her. It's one of those, like, I can't remember the call. They're called like hook. You get this, like this, you have to buy this wooden thing. It's like a hook.
Yeah.
And you get these little colored pieces of like rug material,
right?
Like shag, shag carpet. And it's like colored by numbers. So you get this thing and you have to hook one. Dude, there's like thousands of these things. And so I promised my mom I was going to do it for her birthday. And then her birthday passed. And I said, no, Christmas. I think it took me a year and a half to finish it. And I'll never do it again.
Yeah.
It was so laborious, is the word.
Yeah,
it was labor intensive. But, she really appreciated it. She's like, I can't use it as a rug. I have to hang it. But yeah, it's just some horse or something. It's pretty badass. I'll find a photo of it.
I love that, man. Well, to close out the show today, we always like to let our guests pick a song, that we can play on the Rock 30. And since we are talking about the 20th anniversary of the self-titled, if you'd like to pick one from that album that's still one of your favorites to listen to, or maybe one that you're still performing from that album, do you have one in mind?
Yeah, you know what? Let's play like the last song. That actually was called Theory of a Deadman, and we changed the name of the song. That's where the title Theory of a Deadman comes from, was this song called The Last Song, was off our first album.
Wow.
That's pretty cool.
And now you're going to have to change the name of that song to Theory.
Yeah, exactly. What was the name of that song? Called Theory. Theory. Yeah, exactly.
Are you tired of answering that question?
No. I mean, what I tell people is, look, when we talk to our management or our label or people that know us to go, the Theory boys are here. Or we got to do a call with Theory. So we just tell people, what's the name of your band, Theory? Just go Google Theory on Spotify, whatever, and they'll come up.
Right.
So, but we'll always be Theory of a Deadman. That's who we are. We have multiple LLCs and S corps with that name on it, so it can't be changed.
You didn't want to use the acronym TOAD?
Well, that was there for a while. Fans had Totem. But yeah, the toad thing we didn't really like too much because we're like, well, the toad, I don't know, it's like a frog. Like, what do we have a toad as our mascot? We didn't know what really to do with it. But I don't like System of a Down as like SOAD.
Right.
They use that too. So TOAD.
I think I did go with TOAD when I first met you guys. Like, yeah, TOAD, Theory. And I even called you Theory many times before it was even, thought about. But, it's so funny. And here I am doing it myself. But it seems like every interview is like, why'd you guys change your name back to Theory? It's so that was just funny.
Yeah.
Didn't know if you were tired of answering that question or not. So, damn it,
No,
I did
man.
it again.
It's all good, dude.
Well, dude, go get you some funnel cakes and enjoy the fair. And I hope you can make it to Deadwood. And if you will, take some photos there, and I'll be checking it out on your Instagram. And best of luck, man, getting into the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame in 2027. And can't wait to play the new music for the fans.
I can't wait for you guys to hear it. I really can't. This is going to be it's going to be a great run. We're really looking forward to it.
All right, my friend.
Thanks, man.
Thank you for being on the Rock 30, buddy.
You got it. We'll talk soon.